It's three-peat Thursday here in Chiefs Kingdom as we continue our annual week-long celebration. Mahomes Monday, Travis Kelce Tuesday. You got to add Taylor in there now. Winning Wednesday, three-peat Thursday, and of course our classic Red Friday tomorrow night. My kids have been belting out Red Kingdom all week long. We're fired up. Tonight, we've got a cast of folks on the panel to tell me why I am wrong about the Kansas City Chiefs and maybe why I'm right. Super Bowl 59 in 3 days, bite-sized sports Super Bowl preview right now.
36-36 tie in overtime. Chiefs first down and goal to go.
I'm going to win every single day.
Mahomes looks to throw it. Pump faking right side. He wants it. A comeback cut. It is caught by Kelce.
Yeah, when it's grim, be the Grim Reaper.
Touchdown! Kansas City!
I had to do it to you guys. I had to go find it in the archives, bring it back out one more time. Welcome in to a special edition of Bite Size Sports. It's our Super Bowl preview. Not everybody is a big Chiefs fan on the panel here, but as always, I am joined by my ADP co-host Josh Livingston. We also have our Necessary Roughness host John Boyd and Bite Size Sports fearless leader Kev is with us tonight. Josh, starting with you, how you doing? Is this the game that you wanted to see this weekend?
It is not the game I wanted to see this week. However, listen, as the longer I follow the game and the more that I see my Vikings not in this game, I'm always concerned with legacy. I think we mentioned it last week. Like, I'm worried that Josh Allen and Lamar aren't going to get a Super Bowl opportunity, and we're going to be, because this is just the generation they're playing in. But I am more mature than I once was, because as a kid, I was always the kid that hated Michael Jordan because he was so great and he was always in the finals. And then I grew up and realized that I was witnessing the greatest basketball player of all time. So all that to say, at first I was annoyed with the matchup, but now I'm kind of in the, hey, we're witnessing history. We're witnessing a dynasty that could go down as the best ever, the best quarterback ever potentially. So I think I'm just going to watch the game and enjoy it and see what happens. And as much as I wanted to see someone different from the AFC, I really, really don't like the Eagles. So I'm all about the Chiefs, I guess. Take it.
Yeah, as a Vikings fan, you got to take the AFC team, right? You don't want NFC team. Yep. John, welcome in. Dude, you've been here all season long giving great NFL analysis over on Necessary Roughness. So I want your NFL analysis. Do you think these are the two best teams in the league this year?
Yeah, excuse me. Sorry, I'm pounding an 8 p.m. monster. You know the phrase running on fumes? I fill up the gas tank with fumes.
Monsters on monsters.
Monsters on monsters. But no, I do think this is it's the two best teams. I think we arrived at that point. I think the tournament did what it was supposed to do. Like the rematch aspect is cool. When the playoffs started, it wasn't the matchup I wanted, although I did pick the Eagles to go to the Super Bowl before week one. So we'll take that. Also have Texans in there, but that's fine. And I think we arrived at a place where it is the most storyline laden Super Bowl we could kind of have on like a grand scale. Like there's the three-peat on the line. The team they're going up against has a chance to avenge the first Super Bowl of that three-peat. And it organizationally too, like the year before Holmes took over as the starter, the Eagles won the Super Bowl. And he hasn't missed an AFC championship since, and now he's matched up against them for the second time. So I think it's a cool, just as an NFL fan, if you're able to kind of remove yourself from my team's not in it, and the teams kind of thing, and just about the football, think about how you might think about this, couple years stretch in 20 years, how you might explain this to your, like, we got to just kind of, and I said this on last Necessary Rough show, we kind of just got to and kind of remove ourselves from that prisoner of the moment aspect of it. I think this is a really cool matchup with a lot on the line.
Yeah, I think you make a good point about the Eagles. Like, I think that if Patrick Mahomes wasn't who he is, and maybe it's like, think about the last 8 years. You get Mahomes was in the Super Bowl, and Burrow and Lamar, and like all these AFC teams actually were beating each other. This would the story would be the Eagles being in the Super Bowl for the third time in the last 8 years.
Yeah,
like that would be the biggest story of this Super Bowl had it not been the Chiefs over the last 5 years, right? Because the Eagles, as you mentioned, like they have been so solid each and every year. Although I think just 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I thought Nick Sirianni was going to lose his job. And now somehow here they are in the Super Bowl. So, Kev, we need to welcome you in. I was going to take a shot at your Colts, man, but now we're actually here. I just feel too bad to do it. So, I just want to know, are you excited? Are you excited for this matchup? Are you excited for the Super Bowl? How you feel, man?
Yeah, I'm certainly going to miss Anthony Richardson throwing one off his back foot for 70 yards. Whether it's completed or not, it'll still be impressive. So I have that to look forward to next year. But, I think I feel similarly to the other non-Chiefs fans, whereas initially when I got this matchup as a Super Bowl, I was like, man, again, like that's not incredibly exciting, right? We just had this. If at least the first time it was like we got Andy Reid taking on the team that probably shouldn't have fired him in the first place, getting his little revenge there on that. But and I just, for one, cannot stand the Eagles. I cannot stand Nick Sirianni. I don't know many people who can. But as far as for all the reasons you guys have mentioned, and I'll point to Josh's mainly, because there got to be a certain point in Tom Brady's run where I just had to acknowledge that, hey, we are living in unprecedented times here. As a Pacers fan in the 90s, I also could not stand Michael Jordan. So I didn't appreciate that greatness when it was there. If you want to call the Colts-Patriots a rivalry, I wouldn't, but other Colts fans might stone me for that one. But it's just sort of like there were a lot of reasons not to appreciate it before. So I am excited at the idea that we might see a three-peat. And because I just cannot stand the Eagles, I find myself actually rooting for the Chiefs to win, which, I mean, you win, universe. All right. I don't even know what to say anymore. Although I will acknowledge Lee in the chat. I'm excited to have a bunch of NBA trades to talk about maybe tomorrow. I've got that to distract me too. It's just the whole NBA just traded rosters.
Yeah,
I have no
crazy.
idea who plays for anybody anymore.
It's been a wild week.
Spreadsheet.
It's been a wild week in the NBA.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm in a group chat that we like just talk betting and like throw out like player parlays or player props. And one of the guys is big in the NBA and he'll like tell me a player. I'm like, who's he play for? Like, I'm not gonna go through every stinking game to find this bet. Like, you gotta tell me who this guy plays for.
It's gonna be even harder now.
Yeah.
Like, where's Karis LeVert now? I don't even know.
Goodness. Nate's in the chat as well. Lee, welcome in. Nate, welcome in. Always wrong about the Chiefs. I don't know who's wrong about them, but
I think you might be referring to me. I always pick
you
against the Chiefs and get it wrong.
them.
So now that I'm picking for the Chiefs, it could mean good success for the Eagles.
It's all good. It's all good. Things are looking up in Chicago, Nate, for that Bears squad. So I would like Caleb Williams to be great next year. I would like the Bears to be relevant. I do like having a team like Chicago that you can kind of just like shit on all the time because like they always find a way to screw it up. Like that's fun, especially if you're on podcasts and stuff. But I hopefully Caleb Williams comes out on top.
Yeah,
and then
Caleb Williams structure. Let's see how that goes.
Yeah, it might be weird. And with good offensive minded coach. Yeah,
Well,
he
I'm
did.
rooting
Yeah,
for it, man.
yeah,
Not only is my oldest friend a Bears fan, shout out Nate, but my brother and my father also lifetime Bears fans, just for their own sake. Like, I'm tired of so many miserable Sundays. I just want one enjoyable fall where the Bears just are not a dumpster fire, so that I can enjoy the holidays for once without multiple family members screaming at the television.
Man, they were so good to start the year too. And then you say holiday, I instantly think about the Thanksgiving game
That was a rough day.
when they absolutely just blew it and like don't call a timeout, throw the Hail Mary, snap the ball 4 seconds. Like, what the heck is going on? But
we fixed
anyways,
the drywall that day.
we are I believe it. I believe it. Let's talk about this game here. There are plenty of storylines. Patrick Mahomes is 8-0 against Vic Fangio. Defenses. The Eagles have the best defense. Mahomes is always great against the number one defenses in the league. What's going to happen this week? You got Saquon coming to Philadelphia, and he was just mere yards off the regular season rushing time career, or NFL rushing record. A lot going on in this game. Chiefs are 1-point favorites, 48.5 point total there in New Orleans. Let's start with how the Eagles win. Kev, let me go to you first because you're right to my right. How do you think the Eagles pull this off?
Well, I think our notes are going to be similar on this one, Trev, because to me, if the Eagles pull this off, it is on the back of Saquon. I think it's going to require, I don't know if it'll be another 60 or 70 yard touchdown run. It cracked me up watching the Rams game at halftime. When McVay's like, yeah, we except for that 180-yard run, we really kept him in check. And it's like, you're not wrong, but he still had 100 yards.
That's why it's so great.
So to me, I don't know where we'll be with Jalen Hurts. I know he got banged up throughout the playoffs. I don't know if he's going to be 100%. Even if he is, I think this team will go as far as Saquon can take him. And, of course, Jalen Hurts will probably get a rushing touchdown. But to me, I think it's they're going to have to dominate things on the ground and keep the ball away from Patrick Mahomes. That would be how I would see them winning it. And, of course, forcing a couple of turnovers. I would think maybe that some nastiness up front, if they can create a fumble or something with the D-line, it's going to require something like that, I think, for the Eagles to win.
Yeah, I saw Jalen Carter is dealing with a sickness. It's still kind of early. I mean, it's not early in the week anymore, but I think there's still plenty of time. I assume by Sunday they will pack him full of liquids. Yeah, this offense of the Eagles, the Chiefs defense, one of the best run defenses in the league. Eagles, obviously the best run offense in the league. Right now, Saquon's rushing totals 114.5. John, how do you see this rushing this offense against the Chiefs defense? Kind of two heads just coming at it, in the trenches. Both teams are great at what they do. Who can prevail ultimately against the Eagles offense against this Chiefs defense?
Yeah, to partially to Kev's point too, like I think from one sideline to the other, this is going to be a staring contest. All game. I think there are going to be maybe like 16 possessions total, because both of these teams really want to just drag you down into the mud and make you play their football. They both want to just get these 12, 13, 14 play drives, suck the air, and defense fresh. So I think from the Philly standpoint, and remember too, in that first matchup in 2022, Jalen Hurts had 70 rushing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. And that was really the engine of what kind of kept them in that game. Even Miles Sanders getting your handoffs and Kenneth Gainwell. But now, obviously, you've got Saquon Barkley. And I don't want to minimize this game. Like, if Saquon goes off, then the Eagles win. If he doesn't, they don't. But I think as a collective, it's going to be that Philly rushing attack on the offensive side, where you might get some favorable matchups with Trent McDuffie's outside this season. They just moved him out to the boundary when they let go of L'Jarius Sneed. So if you can get an A.J. Brown, Trent McDuffie 50-50 ball, that's something you should be throwing. But between Hurts and Saquon, the way Hurts has been pretty banged up this season, the legs don't seem as fresh. But I think, especially in starter situations, you're still going to be able to have some success with the zone read stuff they do. Last game of the season, you're not going to be trying to compare anybody's health or leg or anything. I think he's going to be as aggressive a runner as he has been all season. So if Hurts is able to exploit them as a runner, whether that's off script or with designed run, I think that's going to be a really key facet to how they are able to utilize Saquon and kind of stay ahead of the sticks between those two. And then you're going to have a shot or two to Devontae or AJ Brown to really get explosive or two to yourself an upper hand. But KC has given up the most yards per route run, I think it is, or yards per target, something like that, to tight end. So if you're able to get Dallas Goedert going in this game, there aren't a ton of answers for KC on that side of the ball. Decent back for, but if you're able to get Goddard in some space, he's pretty big explosive plays down the stretch this season too. So I every weapon I have, but ultimately it's going to have to be a confluence of all those things, because Steve Spagnuolo is not going to allow you throughout an entire game to keep pushing this. He's going to make you switch things up. So Philly's got to be diverse. They're going to need a big play or two in the passing game, but they get a lot of their explosives on the ground too. So they're going to have to stay committed. And if Hurts is looking spry out, it could be advantage.
Yeah, up until last week, the Bills didn't really use the tight end near as much. But that's a stud point. Dalton Schultz 63 yards, Freiermuth 60 yards, Schultz 45 yards. Like, you can just go back. Brock Bowers had 100,000 yards. It felt like that game. Definitely over 100. I don't have that one pulled up, but back when they put they just give it up. Isaiah Likely in week 1 had over 100 yards, and just a half an inch too big of a foot. So it's just they always, it feels like, give it up to the Eagle or to the tight end. But can the Eagles get Dallas Goedert involved? He kind of disappears often, and I'm curious to see how the game plans are going to shake out. I am inclined to believe, I think most people with a level head would believe that Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo are much better coaches than the Eagles staff is. I just don't think Nick Sirianni is a phenomenal coach. I think they have phenomenal talent, but from a coaching standpoint, I think the Chiefs have a huge upper leg. So what can they do? Do they do anything to adjust to Dallas Goedert? Or do they just say, look, we'll take away A.J. Brown, we'll take away Saquon. Good luck beating us head-to-head with Dallas Goedert. I'm actually curious to see if they go that route, because I agree that it seems like that's kind of the way they've been all season long. Just let the tight end cook, and they just, all right, whatever, great, good job. Your tight end got a lot of yards, but we still won the game. So I think that's a really good point about Dallas Goedert. And maybe that's if we attack Dallas Goedert in some of our props, those kind of things, if you're not sure how that's going to work out. Josh, how are you feeling about this Eagles team? How do you think, if they pull off the upset, how's that going to turn out?
Yeah, I'll start with a couple of reiterations. I'll make it quick though. I'm on the side where they need to get the running game going. They need to go through Saquon. the Eagles lead the league in percentage of plays that are runs, but at the same time, the Chiefs are like 7th in rushing attempts allowed per game. And so something's got to give there. I don't need to belabor that point. We all kind of mentioned it. Like, that's a big deal. The Eagles offense being in rhythm, having enough opportunities to give Saquon the carries so he can get those big plays. Like, if Saquon takes play number 1, 45 yards, I think they're in good shape, right? But if they get stifled on a couple of drives, I think there's going to be, it's going to get a little dicey. And then defensively, you have to do, it's going to sound ridiculous saying, but you have to get to Mahomes. You have to, like, what am I trying to say? It's hard to get to Mahomes. Actually, one of the props I'll mention later involves some rushing attempts for Mahomes, because he's so good at keeping plays alive, being elusive, and scrambling for a conversion on 3rd and 4. And so I think that the Eagles have to find a way to get that pressure. Nolan Smith has been pretty good. Jalen Carter, he's been really good. He's been very mature for his age, and they have the back end help to give their up front guys a chance to make some plays. Zach Bond has been all over the place, obviously, and so if they can, fluster Mahomes, he's not going to be flustered, but you know what I mean? Like, if they can force him to throw a bad pass, if they can, when he scrambles, if they can keep it to have him throwing the ball away instead, like that, they have to do that, because otherwise they're just not going to be, otherwise the Chiefs are going to be on the field too long, and the Eagles are going to have to play perfect on offense, and I don't know if they'll be able to do that against the Chiefs defense. I like what we were talking about with the 50-50 ball to AJ Brown. I actually think this is a decent game for Devontae Smith from a fantasy standpoint. I think he'll get a good amount of targets, and he's good deep over the middle as well. So, but I mean, it all comes down to, can their offense do what they've wanted to do against the Chiefs defense, who's, full of big time gamers who've been in the Super Bowl before and also know how to stop the run. Like, that's going to be the first thing I'm looking for, is how are the first couple rushes for Saquon against this defense, and kind of going from there. But if they can somehow get to Mahomes and force him into a turnover or a 3 and out here and there, game on at that point. But that's easier said than done. So.
Yeah, you brought up the rushing attempts thing. First of all, Saquon's at 21.5, so probably could take the under on that if you think the Chiefs are going to win the football game. But this is, I don't really, I'm not good enough with the X's and O's to understand why this happens. But it happens every single week. Teams forget that they have a star running back. James Cook was absolutely destroying the Chiefs. He ran the ball 1 time in the 4th quarter.
Jeez.
He ran why does that happen? I really don't know why that happens. But he ran the ball. Now, I think he caught a pass, maybe 2 passes, but he ran the ball 1 time in the 4th quarter. James Cook was the issue for the Chiefs that entire game.
Yep.
And that's just what they end up doing. Somehow they end up forcing you out away from the run game, putting it on your quarterback's shoulders, whatever things happen. And now you get to the end of the game, you're like, wait a minute, why didn't I run James Cook anymore?
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't I give James Cook the ball? He was the one that was successful early in the game. And that's what they do. And that's what Steve Spags does. He is so good at forcing you away from the game that you want to play. So I'm interested to see if the Eagles stick to Saquon, or do they somehow abandon the run too early and allow, kind of concede to the Chiefs defense there. Anything else on the Eagles side of the ball here, or even the Eagles defense? We talk a lot about the offense, obviously, but what does the Eagles defense have to do to stop Patrick Mahomes? Last time these guys played in the Super Bowl, it was 38-35.
Yeah.
I don't know if we expect that, but what do they have to do to stop Mahomes?
Well, real quick, actually, too, I had one more point on the Philly run game too, and I guess this is kind of both of the teams' run games. But so throughout the playoffs to this point, Philly has a rushing success rate over 70%.
Wow.
And success rate, for those of you who don't know, is on 1st and 2nd down. It's based on the down and distance. 1st and 2nd down, did you get half or more of the yards to gain? So a 6-yard run on 1st and 10, success. And then on 3rd and 4th down, it's just, did you get the first down or not, regardless of distance.
What if you get 65 yards on the first play of the game? Is that good?
That is one successful play.
Score. What's that mean?
It measures consistency more than anything, right? And for context, the best rushing success rate over the course of the season was 49.6%, which was Washington, and a lot of that has to do with Jaden Daniels as a designed runner, and all the stuff they do. But Philly is also stuffed relatively often, 14.6% stuff rate when they're running the ball. So, it's a little boomer bust, but in the playoffs, they've been extremely consistent. They are the second most explosive rushing offense and explosive play rate, 10+ yard runs over the course of the season. KC is the least explosive run game. They have 33 total 10+ yard runs over the course of the season, by far the fewest in the NFL, but they had a success rate over the course of the season right in line with Philly. They were both about 43%. So KC also has the lowest stuff rate when they run the ball. They don't take negative plays when they run the ball. KC doesn't. Philly will a little bit more, but is Philly going to be able to create some negative plays against Kansas City? Because that's the issue with this team. It's like, yeah, if you look at all the numbers, like, this isn't, that Patrick Mahomes offense we remember. Like, is this the worst version of KC that we've seen? It's like, no, this is just a different version. This is a methodical, body blow kind of offense that is very, very different, even from that 2022 group that Philly saw last time. So I think when you kind of take that all into account, and that boils over into the passing game as well, like, can Philly create negative plays defensively? Because like I said at the top, it's going to be a staring contest all game, between, especially the Philly defense versus that Kansas City offense. Who's going to blink? Who's going to change things up? Because the Fangio defense, they want to rush 4, they want to be in too high as often as they can, and they're going to give up everything short and just hope you make a mistake when they're forcing you into 12, 13, 14 play drives over the course of the game. They're just saying, well, hey, if we stick to our principles, eventually the offense is going to make a mistake. Oops, you're playing the team that doesn't make any mistakes. So what is going to break first? Is Philly going to get aggressive enough to force something and make a mistake against this really, really well-taught and well-installed Fangio defense? Or is Fangio going to blink and say, they're just marching. We're going to have to send some pressure. We're going to have to roll a safety down into the box and muddy up these quick throws and things like that. And then maybe at that point you see there's a Hollywood Brown sighting on a post or a deep cross or something like that when you can get them into some single high coverages. So I think it's just going to be, who kind of breaks their own tendencies first, because I don't think either team wants to.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on the Eagles side of things? I would like to know what the Chiefs' defensive success rate on runs is, because I think that that stat or that in the game is going to be so important for both sides. Mm-hmm. Eagles offense versus Chiefs defense, because the Chiefs are one of the best rush defenses in the league.
Yep.
And they've given it up a little bit more recently. They gave up like 80 to Mixon, and they gave up like 85 or something like that to Cook last week. They'll give it up a little bit more in the playoffs, but all season long they've been really, really good against the run.
Yeah, they were 11th in success rate allowed and 7th in yards per rush allowed.
So not bad. They're not the best in those aspects, but that's not bad at all. Josh, you got anything here more on the Eagles side of things as you've kind of heard us talk about some stuff?
No, I think that's spot on. I was trying to look up something as you guys were talking, and I found the same number. That's yards per attempt. The Chiefs are right in the top 10 there. You think you said 7, right, John? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it'll just be really interesting to see who budges. The one thing I would say, this kind of goes into what I was going to say about the Chiefs side of how they win, about forcing Hurts to throw. You're talking about which coach is going to adjust. Blitzing is going to be a big deal, I think, for Spags against Hurts. Hurts has gotten better against the blitz this year. He's gotten better under pressure and throwing under pressure this year, but it's still not elite, and he's had trouble specifically against the Chiefs. And so, this might be segueing a little bit into the Chiefs side of things too much, but I think that if that matchup is, I think, where the Chiefs have a pretty big advantage, like, because Hurts is a good quarterback and he's proven that he can throw the ball effectively enough to win the big game. But I think with the pressure packages that Spags is going to throw at him, I'm not going to give away too much about what I'm going to say later about Super Bowl MVP, but I'll just give that little hint. But I think that the pass rush can get involved there, and they'll get a lot of guys in Hurts' face, and I think that might be something that makes the difference as well. Like, I think the Chiefs defense is in line for a couple interceptions on Sunday, so I think that matchup is big. And so for the if we're still talking Eagles, like, Hurts is going to have to throw against pressure. He's going to have to make them stay honest about that. And so I don't know if he's capable of that for the whole game. So,
did you guys see the breakdown of that fourth down play from the Chiefs when Spags sent I think it was McDuffie from the backside? So essentially, if you didn't see it, essentially the Chiefs blitzed from the strong side all game long. Anytime there was 2 to 3 wide receivers on a certain side, the Chiefs blitzed from that side the whole game. And on that last fourth down, they blitzed from the opposite side. They blitzed the single corner. It was just like when I was watching the breakdowns, like, so there's a couple people out there that did really good breakdowns on it. It's just, that's what they do. Like, and that's what they've done all year. You think about the block kick against Denver. They were testing it every single time they kicked the field goal. They tested that same left tackle, and then they attacked him when it mattered. Mm-hmm. And they did the same thing. They just baited the Bills into this. They knew, okay, we blitzed from this side the whole time. When it matters, we're going to flip it and go from the other side.
It's just like that return motion they ran in 22 on the goal line.
Oh, yeah. And then they did it again. And then they're like, yeah, you're absolutely right. When Mecole Hardman is scoring touchdowns against you and Kadarius Toney, because they just it really, like, they're setting stuff up all game long. And so, John, when you talk about, like, who's going to blink first, all I'm thinking of is, like, what are they setting up the whole game? Because that really feels like that's what the Chiefs do really well. Kev, anything else on the Eagles before we move on to the Chiefs?
No, I will just say I agree with you. I think the Chiefs are playing chess, and the Eagles coach is asking Madden sometimes. But so I'm with you there. I think that's going to be a big advantage for them. Last thought on the Eagles for how they win: they have to force turnovers in a sense that there may be a play where Mahomes is rolling out, maybe trying to throw back to the middle of the field or rolling left, going across his body. If he gives you one of those, you absolutely have to capitalize on it. They're going to be, in order for them to win, they have to have the lead early, and they have to, because if they get too far behind, we've talked about getting away from the script, abandoning the run game potentially. So for me, I just think it's going to come down. They have to be very aggressive early on and try to establish a lead and protect that lead the rest of the game. I think that's their best bet.
All right, let's move on to the Chiefs side of things then, right? If you're in the chat, let us know, how do you think the Chiefs are going to win this game? What do they have to do to win the game against these Philadelphia Eagles? Josh, let's start with you on this one here. How do you feel? Like, what do you think the Chiefs are going to have to do to beat the Eagles on Sunday?
Yeah, I think we've kind of alluded to it a few times. I think you have to make Hurts try to beat you through the air. I mean, Saquon is still probably going to get his. He's going to break one for 40, 50 yards maybe, but if that's all he does, I think you're in good shape. I think if you can get them out of their rhythm, I think they need to try to avoid 3rd and 3 or less, honestly, because the Philly tush push 2 times is going to be something that's hard to stop.
Yeah.
So it sounds dumb to say that that's part of the strategy, but if I'm the Chiefs, I'm coming after blitz. I'm blitzing and coming after Hurts early and often on 1st and 2nd down. I want, I think John, you were mentioning earlier, there's some negative plays there to be had for the Eagles run offense. And I think that for as good of an offensive line as they have, the Chiefs defensive line has been elite. Karlaftis shows up every week when I'm watching the Chiefs, and Chris Jones is obviously there. So I think that, the trenches are going to be in battle, and I think they might give up a couple big runs to Saquon. They might give up a couple scrambles to Jalen Hurts, but they need to keep him out of rhythm. They need to keep him out of 3rd and 3, because that's going to be 4-down territory for the Eagles. Unless they're inside their own 20, they're going to probably go for it most likely. And again, I kind of mentioned it earlier when we were still talking about the Eagles, but you got to make Hurts throw the ball. I think there's some interceptions to be had there by flustering. I think Spagnuolo is the right guy to really throw him off in terms of timing and things like that. And I think that, I think that's a big key. And, we've talked about Dallas Goedert. It's funny because we're, from a fantasy standpoint, I was listening to a show the other day, and some people are starting to think about avoiding Goddard because so many people are in on Goddard because of the fantasy numbers suggesting he's going to have a big game with a lot of targets, a lot of catches. And then Trevor, you mentioned he does disappear at times. So I think if the Chiefs can keep him kind of dwelling in mediocrity, maybe a couple catches here and there, I think that's going to be a big problem for the Eagles as well. So, make Hurts throw the ball, keep him out of 3rd and short, and I think they're capable of doing it. They've done it against every other team they've played, and they've done it against this Eagles team. I was looking at some stats from, I don't think it was the last time they're in a Super Bowl, but one of the last times they played in the regular season, and Hurts was like 50% completion percentage, under 200 yards. Like they found a way to get to him, and I think that Spags will find a way to do it again, whether he's setting it up or he's got something he's been sitting on all season, because he knows that he can get to the Super Bowl without using all of our fancy plays. So who knows what we'll see from the Chiefs on Sunday, to be honest. So,
yeah, getting Jalen Watson back before the Bills game last week was huge for this defense. Now you've got McDuffie and Watson both out there covering Smith and A.J. Brown. I think that's going to be a pretty big advantage for the Chiefs. I mean, not an advantage in terms of like one-on-one matchups. Like, it's still A.J. Brown. He's a freak. But like in terms of like their defense versus other defenses that the Eagles have seen, getting those guys out there and having those guys healthy are going to be very important for this Chiefs defense. Kev, what says you? How do the Chiefs beat the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday?
Well, I'm going to I know you guys have some great points coming up, so I'm going to keep it kind of simple here with how I think the Chiefs win, because I really feel it's their game to lose. All the Chiefs really need to do in order to win is be within a touchdown in the final 5 minutes of the 4th quarter, right? Because defensively, they're going to be schemed well. Like, they're going to have something, just as you just talked about with the Bills, they're going to have something that they've set Philly up for all game to create something. And if Patrick Mahomes gets the ball within 4 minutes with a chance to win the game, I'm just not betting against that. I've learned the hard way. Okay. I predicted Tom Brady would retire in 2017. Okay. I have learned my lesson. I'm not going against this man. So to me, I think it's pretty simple. If the Chiefs, even if they have a bad, all they have to do is hang around. All they have to do is be within striking distance in that 4th quarter. And I think that their coaching and their schemes and the players that they have on the field will get it done. So I think for the Chiefs, they have to just avoid what I talked about earlier. As long as they avoid a couple of turnovers early in the first half, I think they're sitting pretty.
Yeah. And you guys keep talking about turnovers. Like, Mahomes fumbled last week. He fumbled in week 13.
What?
Mahomes hasn't thrown an interception since week 11. Right? He came out, he threw an interception every game of the year for the first 11 weeks. I think maybe one of those games he didn't throw an interception. He hasn't thrown an interception since. Like, he has been so good with the football, and it's not like he hasn't doing great things still, but he's just been a lot smarter with the football. I think he recognized really early on the season, if they're going to have success, he can't be, the vintage Mahomes that he has been with his arm talent. He still has to be smart with the football. And so, I think limit the turnovers is always going to have to be a part of the game. But this Chiefs offense has been doing that week in and week out. And they got to do it again, obviously. But I am not overly concerned about the turnovers, simply because we've seen them really take care of the ball over the last half of the season. John, I'll let you go before I give my kind of reason why, what I think the Chiefs need to do to win the game. I'll let you go first.
Sure. So I've arrived at a couple of theories, and some of them, because I think this game will swing on a few key plays. Like, I think it's going to be contentious. So kind of the things I see that they might be able to press a little bit are going to be a little case specific. But Josh, you mentioned a great point that I forgot to bring up for Philly's side of things, how they might win it, which was stay out of 3rd and longs. So obviously for KC, if you can win on early downs, like, I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of run blitzes and run stunts on early downs to try to create some negatives, so you can get Philly into, passing situations on even a 2nd and long or 3rd and long. So I think you might see Spags call it pretty aggressively on early downs early in the game, and that could behoove them, when they get into these money downs, because I think that'll be advantage Spags on the whiteboard once they get them there. And on the offensive side, I think the key here is, like, we saw what Andy Reid and company did to Kaiir Elam when Christian Benford went down. Relentless bullying, singling out, just downright vicious attacking of Kaiir Elam. They were putting low light tapes on the broadcast of plays on which he wasn't even targeted, just him getting broken off by whoever. And I think you might see a similar low light tape of Oren Burks in this game over the middle of the field. I think that's the big weak point of this Philly defense with Nakobe Dean out. So if you're able to isolate him, like, Fangio is very top down. You're going to have too high. You're going to have an umbrella. But they run a lot of quarters, and it's more often than not man match quarters. So it devolves into man coverage shortly after the snap anyway. And, it's a lot of the Saban-esque, Belichick-esque, Zimmer-esque kind of cover 7, rush 4, win that way, have the extra guys in coverage. But I think if you're able to get a Kelsey matchup on Oren Burks, and whether that's, separation within structure or into a scramble drill, Kelsey's instincts and chemistry with Mahomes on any sort of scramble drill situation is unbelievable. If he's able to get behind Burks at all, or even, if any of those linebackers or anybody up the spine of the defense, that could be Reed Blankenship, CJ Gardner-Johnson, I don't really care. If you get those guys having zone eyes on a rolling Mahomes, Kelsey's just going to kind of do a weird little head thing to Mahomes, and maybe that head thing is actually the opposite direction of the direction he's about to break, and it throws the defenders off, and they know he's going the other way. Like, that little niche chemistry of Mahomes and Kelsey is something I think could be a big factor just over the middle in this game, because I think that's the weak point of the Philly defense, as well as they've done to correct the spine of that defense over this past offseason. And then also offensively, Worthy, I think, could be really key in this game. He ranks in the 95th percentile or better in EPA per route run when he's running outs, flats, or screens. So, and one of the best parts of this Fangio defense is the way they rally and tackle at the 2nd and 3rd levels, even when they're, especially playing top down. You get a quick throw out to the flat, they're going to trigger on that immediately. Cooper DeJean since taking over for Avonte Maddox has the
So good.
best yards per target to the slot allowed in the NFL since he took over for Maddox in week 5. So Fangio's going to view that as a strength. They're going to welcome these quick outs. They're going to welcome these quick screens because of how well those DBs tackle. So I wouldn't be surprised to see 3.5 quarters of quick out, ball out in 2.5 seconds, quick route to the flat, curl flat, slant flat, getting Xavier Worthy quick touches, 4-6 yards, whatever, just to set up an out and up on the biggest possession of the game where Xavier Worthy able to torch you because you overcommitted to that flat to try to make the big tackle. On the other side of the ball, I think Spags is going to know exactly what to poke at with Jalen Hurts. And if you get them into these, unfavorable downs and distances on those money downs, like, for example, if you let's say you get the Eagles lined up on the left hash and you've got, maybe it's an even passing strength formation or neutral, or maybe it's 3-by-2. But if you get Philly on the left hash, if Jalen Hurts escapes the pocket, he wants to roll right and only roll right. So if you're able to, maybe you send that some variation of that 4-week blitz you were talking about, Trev. If you're able to flush him left, particularly to the boundary side of the field, and play your coverages to that boundary side, Hurts doesn't really have it in his bag to throw opposite hash. Like if you're running a cover 6, which is usually quarters to the passing strength, and cover 2 to the passing weakness, you flip that to a cover 9, where you put quarters to the passing weakness on that boundary side, and kind of tempt him to maybe hit the cover 2 a hole shot to the opposite hash. That's going to be a play on which you can really get him to make some risky throws that he's not particularly equipped to make. I mean, he's not going to make the Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert opposite hash bullets that we see from these really, really top end arms in the league. He just doesn't have that. So I think Spags will be able to corner him in that way if you're able to get him into those late downs. But then with the running game on the other side for KC, the only team that runs more light boxes than Vic Fangio's Eagles was the Bills this season. They don't want to roll these safeties down into the box. So if you're able to establish the run early, whether that's Kareem Hunt or Pacheco or a little Carson Steele action, maybe there's some more designed Patrick Mahomes runs that we hadn't seen all season. If you're able to threaten with the run and make them roll CJ Gardner-Johnson into the box, make them roll Reed Blankenship into the box, then I think you'll be able to exploit some things on the outside with your speed. But if you're not able to, then just 1,000 paper cuts with the quick passing game at that point. Like, I think there's a lot of avenues to victory for KC. And I think you're right to your point, Trevor. I think they have the advantage on the whiteboard, as much respect as I have for Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio. Sirianni not particularly involved in those sort of sessions. Doesn't seem like a real collaborative guy, but he's in
More of a hype man.
Yeah.
He'll hijack play calling if he really feels like he's.
I don't know, hype man. He's more like a chill, like, oh, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, he's more like a hey, Philly fan, shut the fuck up. We won.
Yeah, this is for Frank Reich.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, go home.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with any of your assessments there. I mean, that's why I was excited to have you on tonight, because I know that you know the X's and O's, like that is your bread and butter. Way more than me, even with the Chiefs. Like the out and ups, and then I just started like feeling giddy when you started talking about Travis Kelce and all the things that he can do against this defense. Because that's what I think. Like, I think the way the Chiefs win is going to be Mahomes and Kelce.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. I mean, if we look at this Eagles defense, maybe it's running the ball here and there, as you mentioned, but the Chiefs just don't run the ball. They just, I mean, Kareem Hunt had 8 rushes against Houston. He had 17 last week, so they ran the ball a little bit more last week. But that's just not really in their DNA. So maybe he gets more touches this week, because of that same idea of a light box against the Eagles. But the Eagles are giving it up against the tight ends in the playoffs here.
Yeah.
I pulled it up. Last week they gave up 11 to Zach Ertz, the one and only Zach Ertz. The week before, Tyler Higbee hasn't played all season, ends up with 7 catches on 10 targets. Tucker Kraft in round 1 had 5 catches. They are giving it up to the tight end. And these Tucker Kraft, Tyler Higbee, Zach Ertz, they are not Travis Kelce. I don't care how slow of a season Travis Kelce had. He's clearly shown up in the moments that matter. The Houston game, he was on fire. Doesn't do a whole lot last week. I think this is his moment. I think that Kelce can absolutely shred this Eagles defense, exactly like Zach Ertz's 11 and 104 did last week. I think they can. The other thing for me with this game, the Eagles talent overwhelmed Washington. Washington's not there yet. But I think everybody's going to think about, wow, the Eagles just put up 55 on Washington in the NFC Championship game. They're a great team. They are a great team. They're in the Super Bowl. Washington is not ready yet. They were overwhelmed by this Eagles team. This Eagles team nearly lost to the Rams, and arguably probably should had Matthew Stafford known how to play in the snow, but he literally can't play in the snow. I think he's like 1-12 when he plays in the snow. That game, that Rams team was not overwhelmed by the talent and was able to outcoach the Eagles and stick with the Eagles to have a chance to win the game at the end. I think they were driving, if I remember right, and they got stopped on 4th down, something to that matter. It just tells me just the coaching and the talent. The Eagles have used their talent to get to this point. They go out and get Saquon Barkley. They went out a couple years ago and got A.J. Brown. They are very talented. They get Jalen Carter to drop to 10. We were all on this stream when that happened. What the heck was the NFL doing allowing Jalen Carter to drop to 10 because of some false accusations about, whatever's going on in Georgia? They have the talent. The talent is there. They're probably the most talented team in the NFL. I don't believe in this coaching staff. I truly, at one point during that Rams game, I thought Nick Sirianni was going to get fired because I thought they were going to lose that game, and I thought he was going to get fired because they were going to lose that game, and there was no reason for them to lose that game. And here's the Rams driving down the field to win the game. Ultimately, the Eagles prevail. It almost looked like a sigh of relief from Nick Sirianni, almost like a holy cow, we actually made it through this game. Now we get to go play some Washington team that we're just going to kick, the shit out of. So I think that simply coaching is going to put the Chiefs ahead of the Eagles here. I think Patrick Mahomes is a clear, if you want to go down what ESPN or whoever does, coaching, quarterback, offense, defense, the Eagles have the better running back. The Eagles have the better wide receiver, but do they have better pass catchers as a whole? Hard telling with the way that both teams use their offenses. So I think that Kelce is going to run all over this team. And I think that, I'll give my ultimate pick later, but I think this offense is not going to struggle against this Vic Fangio #1 NFL defense.
Well, here's the one thing, and it reminded me that with the Jalen Carter mentioned, the one thing I do worry about is Caliendo at left guard. But Vic Fangio is very stubborn in the way he deploys his players and the way he calls his scheme. And Jalen Carter, exclusively lines up on the defensive left, which will be over Trey Smith. So again, I mean, that's not a matchup Trey Smith is never going to lose. And you've got Nolan Smith usually to Jalen Carter's left, who really is going to widen out Jawan Taylor. So you might have Jalen Carter with a two-way go. It's against one of the most heavy-handed guards I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
But, that's still probably something the Eagles feel confident about. I'm interested to see if Fangio considers moving him over Caliendo, or if he feels comfortable with, a guy in Milton Williams who had over 30 pressures this season. I think 9th in pressure rate, even better in pass rush win rate by ESPN. So I think either way, if you're going to have Chip help for Joe Thuney at left tackle, which, Josh Sweat matchup, maybe a little Nolan Smith here and there, you might still want to do that since he's out of position. And you might want Creed kind of ready to help Caliendo, whether it's Milton Williams or Jalen Carter or Jordan Davis across from him. So isolating Trey Smith against Jalen Carter is going to have a lot of impact on this game, who wins that matchup, because I don't think Trey's going to have a lot of help.
Yeah, I'm not as – I think that it's a fair point. I think, one, Vic's stubbornness is probably why Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are 8-0 against him. Right? Like, because they're not stubborn. They change things up every single week. They game plan for that game, and they're going to mix it up, do what they got to do. And so if Fangio is not going to change anything, then Andy Reid's just going to eat him alive like he continues to do. But I'm also not as worried. Caliendo's a great point. If you don't know, if you haven't followed the Chiefs, the left tackle has been atrocious all season long. They thought they got the fix with DJ Humphrey. Just not ready to go. Never really looked healthy. Can't stay healthy. He's not the answer. They move their, all-American, all-pro left guard out to left tackle and bring Caliendo into left guard. They gave up 3 sacks against the Houston Texans. Probably one of the best defensive lines they've seen all season. And Caliendo and Joe Thuney, they stood up and they did the job they needed to do. And so on the same side of it, I think the Andy Reid's probably feeling really good about the matchups himself, right? Even if they move Jalen Carter over, they probably feel pretty good about the matchups, not only because of the players they have there, but going back to what you mentioned earlier with the quick outs and the quick screens, they're going to run those things to take some of that pressure off the offensive line, and not even give Jalen Carter a lot of opportunities to mix it up this game.
Yeah. Trev, do you know what game it was? It the Broncos game, the first Broncos game, when the Chiefs were about to kick a field goal and they had just gotten stopped on 3rd down, and Mahomes was literally like, get Wanya Morris off the fucking field.
Yeah.
Like he was.
Yeah. I think it was around that time frame, like kind of early, like late early season, week 5, 6, 7, somewhere in that time range. I don't remember if it was the Broncos game either, but it was definitely around that time frame when they played he was just shaking
bad.
his head like
get him out. And then
he was bad.
From him to Kingsley Suamatia to DJ Humphreys a little bit, and they were like, all right, well, fuck it. We're just gonna put our all
I thought Kingsley Suamatia, however you say it, was going to be the starter coming into the season. I thought he looked decent during the preseason. And then when they gave him a chance, he was no better than Wanya Morris. And so it just hasn't worked out. And I think that gives the Chiefs the confidence of, this defensive line is very good. I don't think they're better than the Houston defensive line. And the Houston defensive line made some great plays. I remember I'm picturing the Xavier Worthy end around when the left end just the sophomore, what the heck's his name?
Will Anderson.
Andrew, yeah, he just reached out his left arm and just put Xavier Worthy to the ground while being blocked. But so they made the plays, but I think that only giving up 5 sacks in those 2 games against those 2 defensive lines, you're going to be very happy about that. And I think that's going to give them a lot of confidence going into this game against this defensive line.
Yeah, I mean, it's a better interior group, I think, than Houston, but that kind of plays into KC's strength. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You got Trey Smith in there, Creed in there. You're not worried about that. All right, let's talk about some Super Bowl props here. Let's have a little bit of fun. We broke it down really well. Let's give out some props. I'm going to pull up Underdog and just kind of, if you guys have guys you want to talk about, we can kind of pull that up. And then once we're done talking about some prop betting, we will get into our Super Bowl MVPs and then ultimately how we think the game is going to go and the game picks. If you are with us in the chat, give us some Super Bowl props. Who's your favorite touchdown scorer? What's your favorite over under? Who's gonna, what's the bet for the coin flip? What's the bet for the national anthem? The Gatorade color, right? What is
or color, yeah.
Throw it in the chat. Let us know about it. But let's get into some of these player props. I found this kind of a fun thing from another content creator about just like different types of fun bets you can make during the Super Bowl. First one was like the core bet, 2 or 3, however many you want, really high conviction picks that it's going to happen the whole game, right? So you got the core, you got the touchdown bets, obviously who's going to score the touchdowns. You got the one play home runs, like the Saquon longest rush over 35 with a touchdown. So you get your one play wonders, and then the Hail Mary. Maybe you want to slide Xavier Worthy to a 99.5 rush receiving yards. Maybe you want to slide Jalen Hurts to 3 touchdowns, which, Josh, I feel like you called that against the Rams, and then it happened against Washington.
Yeah, which one? Which week
I think you were a week. For some reason, I think you were a week early.
I said 3 total touchdowns, and he had 4. He had.
Oh, was it the Washington one?
I think it was. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I couldn't remember if it was the exact week that you hit it, but that was that was good. So you can slide it. So I'm gonna pull this up. Let me present. Here we go. All right, let's just start with some core picks, some picks that are gonna, last all game. These are like rushing yards, passing touchdowns, receiving yards. Yep. Josh, I'll let you start here. What's one player prop you like that is a all game type of player prop?
I really feel good about Devonta Smith going over 51.5 receiving yards, which is almost counterintuitive because I think it's going to be a more defensive game, and I'll allude to that. I'll talk about that a little bit later, but for some reason, I just feel like he's going to get at least 75 to 80 receiving yards, and some of it may be in a garbage time, like last minute effort to pick up some things that they're down by 2 scores and they need to get a touchdown and a field goal or something like that. Like, I'm not expecting Devonta Smith to just completely tear it up, but 52 yards receiving feels very, very possible for me, and I feel good about that one. So
nice. I'm going Kelsey 61.5. I just talked about how I think that he actually smashes in this game. Not worried about him against this defense here. Kev, you got a good player prop for the whole game here.
Oh, that's a tough one. I was over here trying to get my Underdog account ready so I can just piggyback off your guys' picks, but it's been so long since I had logged in, I can't currently navigate my. So what?
I will interject. I will interject for a second then and offer my disclaimer that this is Super Bowl time, so I'm picking only hires, and I did
hires only.
Yeah, basically that's a weird strategy, and I don't know if that's sound advice, but like I did I flexed a couple like 6-pick props earlier today for fun, and I was like, yeah, we're just going higher everything, higher than this. I just was like, I don't know, just because it's more fun that way for me. But
yeah.
I would say that they're I think you mentioned it earlier, Trev, when I was talking about that the Chiefs are the top 10 rushing attempts allowed. Like this might be actually one of the few games where I would be okay going lower on the carries or lower on attempts for Saquon. I mean, that's not my favorite prop for him because I feel like he's still a good touchdown bet and things like that. But
yeah,
but I think for an under 22 carries feels like it's very possible as well. But
I love the under with Saquon carries.
Yeah,
and Saquon, even in a win, Saquon can get it done in 18 carries. Like he doesn't need
for sure
21 or 30 carries. Lee mentioned earlier, run the ball 30 times. Like he doesn't need to do that for the Eagles to still win this football game. But John, I just saw your message about you. Sorry, that made me laugh. And also, like, I just pictured my own 3-year-old doing the same. I'm like, oh, yeah, I understand what that looks like. Kev, what about a player? What about a player? Let's look at some of these props. Why,
I love me some Worthy as a potential flyer. Right? Have we touched on that yet?
He's one of my guys that I was going to pick to get a touchdown. I think I like him to get a touchdown. So I'm with you on Worthy for
6.5 rushing yards, 66.5 rush plus receiving. I've told Josh this story already. For the Detroit-Washington game, I took an over on Jameson Williams. I think I told you this, Josh. The whole week, all I thought about is I'm going to take the over on rushing and receiving. Because Jameson Williams, similar to Xavier Worthy, will take the end around, right? I took the over on receiving yards, and then he went for like 65-yard rush, and I just could not believe what I had done. The whole week, I thought rushing and receiving, and I only took the receiving. So I don't mind, Xavier Worthy, if you're gonna go his route, if you like him, I don't mind the rush plus receiving just because there's a very good chance. I think it was like week 15 or 16, Mahomes threw it and they counted as a rush for Worthy and not a passing touchdown, which was big for like fantasy purposes, obviously. So, Ruben, what is up, man? Welcome to the chat. He's got a EAGLES chant going on for the Eagles.
What's up, brother?
What's up, Ruben? So what do you like any of these? Higher than 5.5 receptions, receiving yards, rush attempts?
I'd slam the rushing receiving yards. I'd probably slam the receptions over too at 5.5. I just think he's going to be the fulcrum of the offensive game plan. I think there's just a lot of ways to, and Philly does have a lot of speed on the outside, but not necessarily over the top. So I could see a big Xavier Worthy catch, a big explosive play, but I could also see 8 catches for 40 yards and in a low red zone touchdown on a goofy trick play. I just think he's going to be very, very involved because he's going to be a guy that you can build a lot of things off of, with whether that's double moves or just sort of love of the game routes that maybe take 2 with him and you're able to throw underneath that. I think he's just going to have a lot going on.
Well, that makes me tempted to look at that over 1.5 rushing attempts, get that higher that slightly bigger multiplier there. That's how they get you.
Yeah, that's right.
So just one more.
Which one are we gonna go here with this?
But the rushing receiving, like you guys mentioned, I'd be okay with. I like that too.
I like rushing receiving because I feel like there's just gonna be one play, whether it's like a reverse or a tunnel screen or.
I wish you could do longest play. Like you can do longest reception and you do longest run. I wish you could just do like longest play. Because you don't know if
who's gonna have the biggest
gain.
Yeah.
Just give me the longest.
Fastest GPS tracking.
All right, so you like, let's go 66.5 then.
Let's do it.
Sweet.
I like it.
I don't think the Chiefs are going to run the ball often in this game. I just, my own personal belief, I think Mahomes is going to throw the ball a lot. So having Kelsey and Worthy, I'm not opposed to that. Ruben says Kev is the GOAT. He is not wrong. He is not wrong.
Hey, first of all, thank you, Ruben, and congrats on the move, brother. Hell yeah. I hope Kentucky is treating you well, man. Watch your mouth about Long John Silver's. All right.
Not a bit Long John fan?
I asked a simple question, guys. I said, who is it that is keeping Long John Silver's in business? Because every time I drive by one, I don't even see any employees parked in the parking lot. I have no idea
what's going on. Kev. It's the Catholics for 8 weeks of the year, man.
They just,
you know, those 40 days, those 8 Fridays or whatever it is, they got to have the Long John Silvers.
They're running a skeleton crew 11 months out of the year, but that tracks. Right. Those hush puppies, I'll throw a few back.
Most of the Long John Silvers around this area are also combined with like an A&W or something,
or
like
KFC combo.
Or the KFC. Yeah, like there's always like another restaurant with them.
Yeah, what always blows my mind.
They don't really stand alone anymore.
They'll still offer their own chicken. It's like, dude, you're a Long John Silver's. You're paired with the KFC, but you're still gonna offer a platter of Long John Silver's chicken. Like,
have this chicken have this chicken that's fried in the same fryer as the fish.
It's a bold move.
Lee says, what about D-Hop more than 4 catches?
Yes, Lee. Sorry to cut
I'm out. I'm out on that. You're in on that, Josh?
So it's funny because we had the idea of a player that was sliding we haven't talked about.
Yeah. I
saw D-Hop. I slid him up to over 2.5 receptions, and it's a 2.85 or 2.58 times. I don't know if it's still that's the one I got right there. I slid it up. I was like, and that's a little bold. Yeah. I get that, but I slid it up to over 3. I just feel like of all the games for him to show up, this is going to be the one. Like, I wouldn't be surprised to see him get a red zone target and then a couple other ones along the way. So I that was one of my sliders.
We're going to keep that for the slider. Let's keep it for the slider.
Fair enough.
We'll come back to D-Hop on the slider. We need one more here. We only got 3. We got 4 of us on this panel. We need one more all game or part of our core bets here.
I have 2 quick asides. Josh Allen just was named MVP.
Oh yeah, breaking news.
Breaking news. Also,
Josh Allen MVP. Patrick Mahomes, Super Bowl MVP.
There you go. Also, right. Ruben, we don't really have those north of the Mason-Dixon. I thought it was a thermal underwear store until yesterday.
That's good.
Wow.
Oh, that is good.
Bad time to take a drink.
Oh, that's great.
Ruben said Chiefs will get his 3-peat and then Herbo get his first ring. John would love that. John is a closet Herbert guy, so
yeah, I am.
He would love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we need one more here. We've got Devonta Smith over 51.5 receiving yards. Travis Kelce over 61.5 receiving yards. Xavier Worthy over 66.5 rush.
We take that under on the.
I said I was doing all hires. I didn't say everyone else had to do all hires.
Oh, we could take the Barkley under.
Should we take that Barkley under? Because I like that. Because I agree with your take that win or loss, they don't necessarily have to run him that many. Because if they win,
a bit of a multiplier too. That's nice.
Yeah, I'm banking on they win. It's because he busted 2 long ones, not because they handed it to him 35 times.
Right.
These 4 are a 11x. So, your $5 would pay out $55.
Nice.
I will hit that, lock it in. I'll put it in the chat. You guys want? Oh, come on now, internet.
Yeah, I could see like if Philly gets out,
I missed it. How do I go back?
If Philly gets out to an early lead or just like has the pressure on him, I could definitely see just like a Tom Brady Super Bowl loss stat line for Mahomes, just like, 44 for 62, 505 and 3 tuds or something. Because like Trev said, KC will break its own tendencies. It will lean all the way into its own tendencies to a degree none thought possible. And so, like, I could see just, super West Coast, quick drop back game all game, especially if they're playing from behind a little bit. Or if Philly starts scoring quick and all of a sudden, it's not about clock or time of possession control necessarily at that point.
Saquon goes for 65 and a touchdown on the first play, like he did against Washington. Like,
yeah. And it could get, it could get crazy again. I mean, the over under it seems low, but it thematically it seems to make sense with how these two teams play. But in games like this, like, you just never know what's going to happen once they kick off. Like, it just turns into this is completely isolated from the rest of the regular season and all these cumulative stats and numbers that we've been ranting about for an hour. Like, you never know what's going to happen out there. If Philly jumps down their throat, he might just be slinging it all over the yard. So
Philly jumps down their throat, y'all better check on me, No, I don't think it would be as bad. Like in 2020 when they went to the first Super Bowl, if that would have that one was rough for 3.5 quarters, and then it became great.
Right.
But I think if Tampa Bay beating the Chiefs, I was in rough shape. My God dang it, freaking Tom Brady again. Now, if the Eagles win, I think I'll be okay because you've been here a couple of times. You know what I mean?
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah. Meatloaf said it best. Meatloaf said, I'm just listening to Meatloaf all night long. I'm okay, guys.
This is fine. Do you think you'll be okay if they don't win it this year, Trevor?
Yeah, I think I'll probably be fine. This year, we'll be fine. We'll come back next year. All right, let's do our second one is called the Tutties. So we're going to do 4 of them, baby, because there's 4 of us. So we're just taking straight touchdown scores.
Give me Zach Bond.
I don't know if I can do a defensive touchdown score, but I want to give a shout out to Josh. Josh gave us last time we were on the show. What was it? 9.5?
It was higher than 9.5 solo plus assisted tackle.
Dude,
and he had it by halftime.
By halftime. I'm like on Discord messaging Josh. I'm like, dude, Zach Bond's already freaking destroyed this line.
Was Nakobe out by then?
He didn't actually get that many in the second half. Like, if he didn't get it in the first half, it would have been dicey for a while. He was just all over.
Ruben, you give me a touchdown score in the chat, and I will put it in here, my friend. Let us hear it. You cannot do a Zach Bond touchdown, although I think that would be a huge multiplier.
Because they know how money that is, so they won't let you.
Yeah, that's right.
He's been like a necessary roughness cult hero all season. After the Brazil game, me and Ben were literally semi-facetiously just being like, dude, is Zach Bond top 5 player in the freaking league? And then he ended up getting first team all-pro. Like, it was just we ended up riding that all season. But all right, so that's fine. No Zach Bond. Noah Gray's a good.
I'm taking Noah Gray.
I like that one.
Good.
It's a Super Bowl, baby. Ruben gave us Xavier Worthy, so we're gonna put Worthy and Gray in there. So
he's one of mine. I'm with you, Ruben.
Who's taking the next one? Nope, already didn't.
Tush push, baby.
Tush push.
Yep. There you go.
We're gonna get one, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Hopefully, there's no, scandals with the line, if you know what I mean. Here's an idea, Buffalo. How about you don't run the quarterback sneak to the left side of the ball 10 times in the same game?
Yeah, for the 87th.
Yeah. Run the other way.
Tendencies, what are those?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, even Tony Romo is in the booth saying, Well, they only run it to the left here, Jim.
He's like, oh, Jim. I think they're going left here, Jim.
But they're going left.
I don't know, Jim.
James Cook has 83 rushing yards. Let's run another quarterback sneak.
Dude, yeah, who's calling the play? Shane Steichen over there? Come on.
And also get
Oh, they
James
got
Cook
rid of
off
him.
the field. Also get James Cook off the field. We need Ray Davis touches.
Yeah. The last drive of the game, we need a field goal. Let's give it to Ty Johnson.
What, dude? He's comfortably a top 10 running back, and he's getting like 50% snap share. It's insane.
So weird.
It's insane.
That is
Funny ball.
All right, we got Jalen Hurts. Josh and Johnny, you need a spot.
I had Kareem Hunt written down as a touchdown scorer, but
Yeah, give me Kareem Hunt.
yeah.
All right.
Or
Somebody's taking Hunt.
No, yeah, Ruben had
Worthy.
we're doing a 5-legger. Yeah, you can take let's do the 2 backs. Kareem Hunt and
Let's go Barkley.
Yeah.
All right, we got Noah Gray, Xavier Worthy, Kareem Hunt, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley. It's a 61X, so you like that. $5 will win you $300 if you choose to go that amount. I will share this touchdown. We're calling it the Bite-Size Sports Touchdown. Craziness, I don't know. Get in. Click the link. Tail the touchdowns. 5-legger.
Take a bite out of life and fuck
Bite out of life.
bet this.
All right, let's this one we have to just do one. It's called one play. So it is essentially 2 picks that can get home in the same play. For example, going back to the Washington game, if you would have taken Saquon Barkley, longest rush, 35.5 plus a touchdown, right? He gets a 65-yard touchdown. So he surpasses both of those at the same time.
Mhm.
So most often you're probably going to put this with a touchdown, but what do you guys think? Who should we lean on here? Who's got the big playability? Obviously, we know Saquon's got it. We could go the safe route, but what do you guys got?
I have I misunderstood the assignment. I'm sorry. But I think Jalen Hurts is going to get at least one run over 12.5 yards. But I don't know if it pairs with anything. I was just looking at
I think the best one is to pair it with the touchdown, right?
Yeah.
So that way one play covers both bets.
We can throw I'll just throw out John's 50-50 ball scenario from before, maybe AJ Brown. If we're trying to go outside of Saquon, right? Or Worthy. I feel like Worthy is going to end up on every one of these, but I'm good with it.
If AJ Brown scores, I feel like it's going to be like a 45-yard touchdown.
All right, let's see. What's his longest reception?
24.5, I think.
Did I miss it? Oh, yeah, right here, 24.5. So we're saying AJ Brown gets a 25-yard touchdown. Oh, you can't do that in this? Oh, you can't even do this in Underdog. I forget. What the heck?
That's why they're not the favorites.
2 picks that can get home in a single play.
Yeah, I'm looking at the props. I don't have
Maybe it's just 2. Maybe we just don't do touchdown. Maybe we just do longest reception. We do another longest. Like maybe Xavier Worthy longest reception or Travis Kelce. So it's not one play in total, but it's one play for both players. Let's do it that way. The one play wonders. Who could do it? Well, we could also do what's Jalen Hurts? Oh, passing touchdowns. Darn it. I was gonna say, what if we just said it's a touchdown, but it's Jalen Hurts? So we put the Jalen Hurts in there. It's still one play.
Oh, there you go.
Right?
Oh,
Jalen Hurts
okay.
goes with a touchdown.
Yep.
Now we still got to take one person from the Chiefs just because you can't do it all at once. But Jalen Hurts over 1 touchdown. I slid that back to 1. Higher than 1 touchdown. Just saying he throws it to AJ Brown for more than 25-yard touchdown. And then let's do the same thing on the other side. We'll do a Mahomes 1 touchdown. Who's he throw it to and for how many yards?
trying to find the receivers, how many yards they have for their longest reception.
Oh, I can't slide.
Oh, they won't even let you do that. They're like, yeah, one's a
Yes.
guarantee.
Come
Yards.
on.
Noah Gray.
What's his is there a longest pass completion? What'd you say, John?
15 yards to Noah Gray.
Ooh,
That's
I
a
like
lot of
that.
Bray.
That's a sneaky one.
I don't mind it though. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
All right, let's do that one. All right, so we're going AJ Brown 25 yards, Jalen Hurts 1 passing touchdown. That can happen the same play. Then Noah Gray over 13 yards. It's only a 4.2, but if you guys want spicy, you're about to get spicy right now with our slider picks. So sliding picks, we're each taking one player and we're sliding up. So if Noah Gray is at 12.5, we can slide him and say it's going to be a 20-yard pass, and the higher you slide him, the more the multiplier is. Make sense?
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Do I get my
It
D
could be
Hop
anything.
now? Do I get my D Hop?
Oh yeah. That's right. Hopkins.
Nice.
What do you want with him?
Well, I only slid it up to 2.5. Lee said over 3.5, which is even a bigger multiplier, but he's only set it over 1.5. So I think it's a.
You're going 2.5 catches.
I took the 2.58x. Yeah.
Okay. Don't mind it. Kev.
Ooh, I'm trying to think of somebody outside of our usual suspects. What about running back receptions? Is there anybody that maybe normally we wouldn't select that we think might catch a couple passes out of the backfield that we could
You
slide
could
up?
look at like a Kenneth Gainwell. Is Gainwell going to play? He was hurt, right?
Let's see.
I didn't see him on any injury reports today. Then again, I didn't like deep dive. I just looked at the basic stuff. It didn't look like it, like that there was any issue.
I would say because if he was going to be hurt, Will Shipley could be a good play. But if Gainwell's in, Gainwell's playing.
He's questionable, but that's all I'm seeing here. So to me, that says he's playing, but
Yeah. John, do you know?
full practice Thursday. So was
Take
that
the,
today? Yeah, full practice today.
Okay.
Take the yardage over. He gains well. Fucking you guys are just teeing me up. This is crazy.
we can't actually slide Kenneth Gainwell, so he's out of the picture.
Oh,
We haven't used him yet. He's not a like a dark horse name. He's a name that's been everywhere this week for fantasy purposes. Dallas Goedert. To get a good multiplier, you do have to slide him quite a bit. But if we think he's going to be against the Chiefs tight end, getting a lot of receptions, there might be something there.
Forgot to come back to him. Yeah, let's do
like that.
slide those receptions.
How many catches does he get? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9?
Ooh. Let's go.
9's a 7.1 multiplier.
I mean,
yeah,
tempting.
that's not crazy.
Where'd it go? Hang on.
That's not crazy.
I'll be honest, I was also tempted earlier. We were looking at AJ Brown. He's got a 15 times multiplier if he fumbles. So I mean, it's risky, but that's quite the boost.
What did I do with these? AJ Brown. I think he's not gonna fumble, right?
I mean, I don't know.
I have lost receptions for Dallas Goedert. I don't know what I did. I will find them. Who else? How many receptions are going for Dallas Goedert?
I kind of like the 7 receptions. That's just a 2-time multiplier, but kind of like Johnny said, I mean, it could be a big game. but seven receptions feels doable.
Is it 4.5 the base?
Yeah.
4.5 is the base.
Crank it to like 6.5.
6.5 is a 2-time. Yeah, that's a 2.0
Okay.
multiplier. If you go 7.5, it's 3.67.
Oof.
Ooh. 8. I kind of like going 7.5 then.
7.5, 3 times
I mean,
You
that's
can
just
do
a big
multiplier.
bet.
Let's do it.
Okay.
One more catch.
All right, that's 2. 2 more.
All right, those were my 2 go-tos for sliders. You guys gotta calm me down on the slider recommendation. So I defer to you guys on the next couple.
What do we have for completions for Mahomes? Do we have a completions over under?
Oh, that's not a bad. Yeah, 23.5.
I'd juice that fucker.
Ooh,
let's juice it.
slide.
Let's juice it. Oh, our only option is
30?
over 30.
Oh, well.
I don't know why.
Just no in between. What the heck?
No in between.
I still like it.
Oh, that he's gonna go 29 for 41.
Yeah, right. with like a drop, like a real easy drop out of the backfield or something.
Well, if
like
he's gonna go
Creed's
for
just gonna
40, I
love
mean,
one.
we could do. It's only 1.5 for 40 passing attempts. That
How's
seems like a lot.
how's Pacheco feeling this week, Trev? Because you can get 34.5 for almost 2
No.
times. No,
Not
no.
touching Pacheco.
All right, fair enough.
No.
Well, that explains the props then. That explains
Yeah, I don't think. No. Stay away.
Stay away.
8.5 if Mahomes gets 1 reception.
Jeez.
KC
I wanted to
special.
look at passing, but it's only 1.6 for 3 passing touchdowns as well. So
Yeah.
I don't love that.
Man.
Is that 206 passing yards? Does it give us any any sort of sliding scale on the passing yards, or
Doesn't even look like they have it. does it?
Yeah,
Oh,
here we
okay,
go.
it is.
Passing yards.
Nice.
You don't even get to double up though until 300.
Brutal. Is this guy like really good or something? What's going on here?
Yeah, come on.
What's the deal? Oh, this is tough.
Let's go back to what about Hurts? Like, what if the Chiefs do
yeah? Are his
stop the run?
are
Like,
his
what if he has to pass a lot?
Yeah, that's a good one.
oh
His is at 18.5 completions.
I
Oh.
want to attempts with him.
Ooh.
Attempts?
Oh, look at that multiplier.
Is that an 8?
5.5
Five and a half.
5.5 for
for 25 completions.
I mean, Goddard's already catching a third of those. I mean,
Goddard's
we're
true.
almost there.
You got him at 8. Let's look at attempts for him. Attempts. 30 attempts is 1.38. 35 or 36 attempts is 5.2.
He only had 28 against Washington, but then again, that was a blowout. So
Will they throw the ball?
I have a feeling if they're throwing it 35 times, it's a long night.
honestly, if you're gonna
Great night for me.
Right? Yeah, you're gonna be having a good time.
if you go that high with it, you might just go do that like 10-time multiplier at 39.5. I think it was
16.4. He throws it 40 times.
I mean, if you're
Oh, that gets us to our max multiplier. So we don't need to go that high.
Can't even go.
We can only max out at 150. So maybe we don't need to do that one.
that sounded kind of juicy to me. Yeah, that's
What
wild.
about passing yards? Can he get to like 250? It's only 1.7, but that's not bad.
Okay.
250.
See,
seems
okay.
doable.
Lee says Barkley pass catches. Is that
Let's see what Barkley's receptions are. We've got a completely rogue at this point. 2.5 receptions. What's he been? What's his line been recently?
So he had. Pulling it up now.
Oh, baby. 5 catches, 5.8.
He did have four
Six.
catches. He did have 4 catches against the Rams this playoff run, but then he only had 1 last week or 2 weeks ago.
Do the Chiefs give it up against running backs catching the ball? Let's see. Oh, that's the Eagles. I mean, can he catch the ball 5 times?
What's
Let's
the
see.
multiplier 5.8? I mean, it's worth a
James
shot.
Cook caught the ball 3 times. Joe Mixon 2 times. Jalen Warren back in week 17 5 times. So they don't give it up a lot to him. Do we want to go catches? 5 is 5.8.
5 catches.
That gets us to the multiply already. So we don't have to go that high if we don't want to. We can go 3 catches at 1.25.
That looks better
because we still have one more to get in here.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's do that.
Okay.
And our max is going to be 150, so we can still get to the max.
Nice.
So we got a Dallas Goedert over 7.5, Saquon over 2.5, DeAndre Hopkins over 2.5. Well, I'm going back to the Worthy play.
Back well, baby.
So, come on, 100 yards.
Is this
100 yards?
rushing, receiving? Yeah.
Rushing and receiving. 100
Oh,
yards.
okay. Yeah, I like it.
Good.
We go with that?
Oh yeah.
Standard 200x.
Because if you don't go with that one, I'm going to suggest Samaje Perine over receiving
Oh
yards.
God, that's not bad. That's not bad. I do like Samaje.
You don't like Pacheco? Someone's got to
Nobody
catch
likes
the ball.
Pacheco. No.
Nobody
Gotta go
likes
Samaje. $5 will win you 1,000 if this one hits. This is the slider. This is the one you guys want. This is the one that you can really sweat and have a grand old time. Putting it in the chat now. If you're here with us, hit the link. Sign up for Underdog if you haven't already.
That feels
And
like
tail our sweats.
for 200 times. It feels like a relatively likely parlay.
Yeah. I put $2 on it to win 400. So if you guys all send me 50 cents, I'll send you your $100 when we win.
There you go.
Or just click the link, get on there, play it. Play the same one. That was a lot of fun. Underdog's been a lot of fun playing those picks because you can play like in Missouri. I think you can play like the DraftKings does like a pick 6, like something similar. You can play that. You can't sports bet in Missouri, but you can play the pick'ems. So I know Underdog, you can do that in many different states as well. Even if you can't sports bet, you can play those. So if you're out there, you're in a state that you can't sports bet yet, check out Underdog. Tail our picks, hit those links and see if you like any of them. All right, we are going to have to get out of here quick soon, so we need to get through our Super Bowl MVPs and then our final pick for the game. Again, Chiefs are favored by 1 point. Over under is 40.5. We're going to start with Super Bowl MVP. John, I feel like I haven't started with you a lot tonight, so I'm going to start with you here. Who is your Super Bowl 59 MVP?
Trent McDuffie.
Let's go.
Wow.
That means the Chiefs win, baby.
It does. It does. I think Trent McDuffie in a very balanced game all around, maybe a little 2 touchdown performance out of my home, 2 touchdowns, 210. 2 different guys get those touchdowns, maybe a little Kareem Hunt touchdown, and then we'll have a McDuffie either game sealing pick or maybe a really impactful pick 6 or a fumble 6 or something, and a bunch of tackles. Maybe Trent McDuffie sack as well. If he gets a sack and a pick in a game where nobody really went off, I think that's a decent path. And they'll send him. They sent their best coverage player on the most important play of the AFC Championship. So, yeah, give me McDuffie.
Nice.
I was trying to look up what his odds were. Does anybody know?
I don't know.
For some reason, I can't find Super Bowl MVP odds. Like, how is it not like the first thing
Right.
on here? Okay, Trent McDuffie. I will find this and I will tell you guys how much money you can win.
He's plus 30,000.
Oh, let's go. Was 300 to 1?
Somebody put 5. Send me 10%.
There we go. There you go. That's all you gotta do. We don't care how much money you put on it, but if you win it,
yeah,
John gets 10% back.
Actually, I'm in Minnesota. I'll send you $5. We'll split it. Whoever you let me know.
There we go.
Can
John
I go
is throwing
next?
it out there. Yeah, Lee's gonna tee you up here, Josh.
Yeah, Lee, we are of the same mind tonight. Chris Jones was my pick. I was surprised. I kind of felt I might have been the only one going defense, but I think it's gonna be defense wins the game. So I like the Trent Duffy pick a lot. I'm gonna go with Chris Jones. I just feel like this is a big moment for him. I have a quote for you guys from Arrowhead Pride. He's done the same routine all season. I have a routine throughout the week I like to stick to, he added. I wear the same gloves, wear the same cleats. I don't change my cleats through the season. My gloves smell like a dead animal, especially if I get a sack in them. It's over with. I'm not changing them up here lately. I've been wearing long sleeves, and we haven't lost since he's been wearing long sleeves. So, knock on wood, he said. That's according to Arrowhead Pride. So, I am I'm on the Chris Jones train. He's plus 6,500. He's got better odds, but I like the up the middle MVP 3 sacks. I think it'll be a defensive game. I don't think it's going to be a shutout. I don't think it's going to be like a 6-3, bore fest. But I do think, kind of like you were mentioning, John, I think there's going to be a lot of scattered offensive performances and then a couple really big, impactful defensive performances. And spoiler alert, looks like I'm thinking the Chiefs are coming up on top. So
yeah,
Chris Jones,
I love
MVP.
that. I love the Chris Jones quote. Like, look, my wife thinks I'm a lunatic because, like, her mom asked us the other day, like, "Are you guys doing anything for the Super Bowl?" And my wife was like, "No, we're not. Like, we are sitting in our house and our couch. We cannot do X, Y, and Z. So and so cannot come over. Like, there's a list of things that have to happen. Like, it cannot, And she thinks I'm a lunatic, but I'm like, look. If the players are also doing the same thing, I'm clearly not that big of a lunatic. I know deep down that I have nothing to do with the game. But by golly, just in case I do, I'm going to be in my house and my seat watching with the same koozie and my same jersey.
If I'm out on a Sunday and the Colts win, I won't watch them again until they lose.
I'm done.
Because
I'm
they're
out.
better off without me. I'll catch the highlights, boys. It's for the betterment of the team. I do think it's hilarious. Thank God he put long sleeves on to break you guys out of that epic losing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
We haven't lost since I put long sleeves on. Okay, pal.
Well, I can say, John, unfortunately, the superstitious stuff doesn't work with us because I made my entire family after the Minneapolis Miracle. I said, no one's washing your clothes. We're all getting together next week. We will be watching in the same locations. My son was 1, so my friend was texting me, rub that baby's head, get that good luck there. And then we went to Philly and pooped our pants that year, so it didn't work. But I understand. We're not lunatics.
Exactly.
We're very intelligent people, I think. So
not superstitious, just a little superstitious.
Like having like weighty superstitions attached to one of the most prolific dynasties of all time. Like, oh, now we haven't lost. We lost once in the last cap.
Exactly. Chris Jones is like, I can't not wear sleeves. Oh, we're in a dome this week? Throw on the sleeves, baby.
Sweat it out. We're about to make those gloves smell real good, baby. Put the long sleeves on.
fucking Andy Reid's calling plays for Patrick Mahomes, but my gloves are gonna smell like shit because I think
Andy just passes out when Chris gives him like a hug after the game, and Andy's like, "I'm out." Just passes out.
Like he doesn't touch the Gatorade, all right? I don't want
That's right. Don't pour that on me. Kev, who's your MVP?
No post game turducken for
Oh, this is awful.
Oh.
Why does this taste so bad?
Take the gloves off.
Okay, I am going less X and O's for my MVP, although it does track with some of the things that we've said. You know, I'm not coming completely out of left field with this one, but I think the Chiefs are not only going to get their storybook three-peat, but they're going to have the storybook ending on what might be a Hall of Famer's career. So give me Travis Kelce as your MVP with 2 touchdown receptions, 80 to 112 yards, and he is going to ride off into the sunset, and then we will never have to see Taylor Swift in a box suite ever again. No, I'm just kidding, boys.
Well, until next year they have to retire his jersey. They got a couple times you'll have to see the podcast. You'll have to see it on the podcast.
Can't wait for the podcast. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Oh man, you guys are getting me all hyped for this shit, man. I hope we are.
You might have to see
on par. You know what? I'm actually happy. I'm happy we don't have the graphic. Like nobody can pull up the graphic that says all of us picked the Chiefs and all of our MVPs.
We can just delete the stream if it goes wrong.
Yes, exactly. And I will not be back until next year. No, I'm obviously. I actually also was thinking Travis Kelce. I watched a clip a couple of days ago, maybe I don't know. I watched a clip about, I can't remember exactly who it was. He made a great point though. It was on one of the mainstream shows about the 20% of the vote comes from the people starting in like the fourth quarter. And so thinking, and I think I kind of ran the same thing last year with Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, but obviously thinking through, Mahomes it's like a Houston Texans type game, lower scoring. Mahomes throws 1 touchdown and it goes to Travis Kelce, or he throws 2 touchdowns and they both go to Travis Kelce, whatever the case is. And you get 20% coming from the fans and you get all the Swifties involved. Travis Kelce plus, like, I think it's a plus 15 to 1 odds or something like that. Plus 1,500.
I see plus 1,400 on the side. This is FanDuel Sportsbook right now.
Yeah. So plus 1,400 is very good payouts. But Kev took Travis Kelce. I won't take him. I'll just take, sometimes I like to say our Lord and Savior, Patrick Mahomes. So my wife absolutely hates that. But, it's fun. So I will take our Lord and Savior, Patrick Mahomes. He is the GOAT, the best ever. I wanted to put 3 touchdowns on our slider, but it just didn't give us enough X's. So Mahomes, I think he throws 3 touchdown passes. Give 1 to Gray, give 1 to Kels, give 1 to Worthy. We all go home happy. Chiefs, Pete, with the 3-Pete.
Don't let your wife use the name in vain.
That's right. All right. Give your game picks. Chiefs 1-point favorites. I think according to our Super Bowl picks, we all probably are going Chiefs. But what happens? What's the game like? How do they win? Give your game picks and we'll get out of here. I like what Ruben did there.
I see what you did there.
Not repeating it for the audio listeners. You had to be on YouTube to see it.
Yeah.
Started watching football last year, and they've still never experienced pain. So I wasn't picking the Chiefs, but I'm going to go Chiefs cover 23-21.
Okay.
Nice.
So taking the under with that one, right?
Yep. Game go ahead field goal with under 4 minutes to go.
Oh my God, that's a long 4 minutes. I'm gonna be stressed as hell.
Is that when the Trent McDuffie interception happens?
That's when Trent McDuffie seals it.
There you go.
All right, I'll take that.
On
Nice.
3rd and 18.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like-
Yep. There you go.
Oh boy. So picking a score is tough for me. I'm going to go 30-27. Now, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's been 3 Super Bowls in a row decided by 3 points, and I am going to keep that going. Chiefs by 3, give me 30-27. I do think, as we've discussed, there's going to be some points scored out there. It will not be a complete snoozer, but I think it stays close. I hope it stays close. There is nothing more disappointing, especially when you don't have a horse in the race. Now, if my team were there, like if I'm Trevor, sure, the Chiefs win by 20. They're up 21 at halftime. I am living the dream, dude. But for the rest of us, we will be very disappointed if it's over by halftime. So I'm rooting for a close game. And based on what I said before, I think it's going to come down to the Chiefs getting the ball last and putting themselves over. So give me a 3-point victory.
Chiefs the best team in one-score games. How many have they won? Like they won tons, like 15 in a row. One-score games.
Yep.
Ruben says 27-26 Eagles lose. Chiefs win in a thriller. Try to go for the 2-point conversion and miss. Josh, what says you?
I will say 24-14 Chiefs, but it will be close. I think the Eagles will score a touchdown to get within 17-14, and then on the ensuing kick return, Nico Remigio.
Yeah, Nico.
He'll take it to the house. He was a dark horse MVP for me. I think that there's going to be, it's going to be kind of a defensive battle, but there'll be a few touchdowns. The Eagles will be basically within one possession all game, but I think they're going to bust it out with that. So, and it'll be too close to the end. The Eagles will have to scramble. They'll get us our Devontae Smith over 51 receiving yards, before fizzling out within the 30 as they run out of time. So
nice. All right. There you had it. John, what are you guys doing with Necessary Roughness? You going to be back or are you going to take a break? What's going on? Tell us about zone coverage. Let's get out of here.
We'll probably be there for a recap Tuesday night. I think after in the fallout of the Super Bowl, we might go to an every other week, kind of get into more pre-recorded stuff. We're going to be getting to a lot of different teams off-season kind of videos. I think we're going to do Kev's Colts first.
Okay. Let's do it.
So that should be fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun for some of us.
Yeah. I've started to reach out to some friends and some people of mine that cover other teams to potentially guest on those. So we'll have some people who know those teams better than Ben and I do to kind of bridge that gap. So that series should be really fun. And Ben and our friend Simon are our big draft guys. So I'm gonna be teeing them up to know about some prospects as well. Then I cover the Vikings on zonecoverage.com. Published twice a week on there. All my written stuff's there. Doing some free agent profiles right now. Stuff like that. Team has lost. Go back and read a piece of mine from right after the Vikings lost called "The Vikings Train Always Leaves Us with More Baggage Than We Left With." It's it's catered to the Vikings, but it's a commentary on NFL fans in general. And I think if you like this show or anything we're talking about, I think you get some enjoyment from it. It's 900 analogous words about how gut wrenching it is to. Be fun for everybody.
it was a great read. I can vouch for it. It was a great read.
Love it.
Sounds like the letter I wrote to Chris Ballard.
Kev, you gonna do any NBA stuff?
Yeah.
Are you and James gonna do any NBA stuff this year? Are you guys kind of bowing out of that?
I think it will be so we will still have the bounce now that football season is officially over.
Yeah.
I will be getting at it more regularly because of the trade deadline and so James and I did a show right before this for our other channel, Dweeb. Go check that out. But So we will be bringing the bounce back. It's probably going to be Thursdays in the early evening. We'll call it about 6 o'clock. I'll make sure there's a post out, but I don't think I want to wait until next Thursday to talk about the trade deadline.
Yeah.
So be on the lookout. You might just see me solo talking NBA trades tomorrow, trying to make sense of all of it. I'll have my spreadsheets in front of me and try to figure out who went where and how.
Was the deadline today?
Yeah. Yep. Hey, Miles Turner, 10-time trade deadline champion. He remains undefeated despite how many Lakers bloggers think we should trade him for a box of wheat thins. He is still with us, so.
The Mavericks did it. Why don't the Pacers?
Yeah, they're just like, hey, man, we got this expired Luka Doncic. What is that? I don't know what this is, but get it out of here, please. Wild. I just blows my mind that even happened. But yeah, we'll be breaking down the trade deadline. You can check in with me on the bounce. I'll be trying to bring in some guests. We'll get a rotation of guests going in. But in the meantime, I'd love to see all of y'all because the chat helps make a show go a lot better, especially when you're riding solo. It can get it can, as you know, John, I know you've done it a couple times. It can get a little wonky when you're out there by yourself. So come hang out with us, talk NBA. I know Ruben's going to have a lot of great takes. I've already seen Daryl Morey's name mentioned a couple of times in this chat.
I earlier I saw the Daryl Morey and I was like, I don't even know who Daryl Morey is. So I'm just leaving it. Josh, you and Simon and friends, you doing anything?
We're on a little bit of a break. We just ranked the quarterbacks, from talent, situation, contract, a 3-year outlook type of deal. That was a couple weeks ago.
Who was number one?
You'll love this. It was Patrick, but I tried to sneak Josh Allen in there, and Simon shot me down pretty fast. So, but
he's up there. I mean, he's obviously
you can't really argue against it. It was more from a spiritual standpoint, but no, that was a fun episode, and he has a rotating weekly rotation of guests as well. Simon and Friends podcast. He's done a lot of stuff with all of us here, and I'll be back in with him probably in about a month as we get ready for draft season and stuff. So
nice.
Otherwise, not a whole lot else going on. So life is busy.
We'll be back here on ADP at some point in the near future. We won't get rid of you too far. Good thing you don't know Maury. Okay, I'll take it. We're going to get out of here. You all know you're not going to get out of here without my last take here. All season long, all anybody ever want to talk about is how the Chiefs can't score 30 points. They can't score 30 points. 29 points, 28 points. They can't score 30. They get it done last week against the Buffalo Bills. They get it done against the Philadelphia Eagles again this week. The Chiefs ride off in the sunset. Travis Kelce retires. Maybe marries Taylor Swift. The three-peat is real. The Chiefs we're going to get out of here. We will see you all next time.
36-36.
Did you just stop it?
Overtime. Chiefs first down and goal to go.
I'm going to win every single day.
Mahomes looks to throw it. Pump faking right side. He wants it. A comeback cut. It is caught by Kelce.
Yeah, when it's grim, be the Grim Reaper.
Touchdown!